Ladies and gentlemen, my name is KyleAye and I am your coach of the Miami Donphans, and we are the only team that matters. And the time has come for the APA Season 6. It's our draft analysis, baby. The draft breakdown, the recap, whatever you want to call it. Shout out to my buddy Joey, my brother, KyleAye MD. We're aiming to be a champion. I'm wearing this hoodie in like every video I'm doing this weekend, and it's 5 a.m. right now. I gotta wake up at 6:30. I'm gonna be gone all weekend, so I'm doing all-nighters. Let's get it. I'm gonna go over our picks here. There are 20 teams in this draft league, and we basically split it up into two different drafts, I guess. So as you can see on the layout here, pool 1 and pool 2. So I was in pool 1, of course. I had the 4th pick. Basically, the 10 of us in pool 1 did our own draft, and then the 10 people in pool 2 did their own draft. But in the actual season, we're gonna be all mix and match together. So yeah, basically, we really kind of threw it back to Gen 6, Gen 7 with the draft team style, I guess. But instead of a Mega, you're going to get a Gigantamax. So they have like a tier list for the Max Pokemon. Obviously, that's the way that's going to go, right? We get 1 Tier 1, 1 Tier 2, 2 Tier 3s, 1 Tier 4, 1 Tier 5. Those are your required, and then of course your Gigantamax, which can be any G-Max tier. Then you get down there the whitish gray area. You're gonna see 4 free picks. Basically, we have 360 free points to use however we please. If you take an extra tier 1 with your free points, it costs 180. If you take a tier 2, it's 120, a tier 3 is 100, a tier 4 is 60, and a tier 5 is 40. Now, if you take, depending on the Gigantamax you take, it may cost you some points or reward you with points if you take a low tier Gigantamax, something like Pikachu or like Eevee or something, right? But nothing about us is low tier, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and dive in. We had the 4th overall pick. So I'm gonna need everybody to please hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and of course hit that thumbs up button for our number 1 pick, Gigantamax Melmetal, baby. Nut, the big nut, he's here. Registeel, welcome to the team, Registeel. Basically, the one rule that we did have in this league, Dynamax is banned, so you can only max with your Gigantamax captain Pokemon, right? So we got Melmetal, and also it has to hold like a Pokeball, basically. We're doing the Dream Ball because it's a dream, baby. Shout out to my buddy Wolf Glick, and we're gonna be holding the Dream Ball, but you're not allowed to have no item because then knockoff is weaker against you, so you have to do that. Basically, this Mon nutty. Obviously it's gonna get the boost, right, whenever it's doing max moves. The double Iron Bash is just ridiculous. This thing is incredible. 600 base stat total, which you're gonna see is a trend on this team. We got some hitters on this team, let me tell you. Basically the G-Max move for Melmetal is like Torment. So basically the way that it goes is like you only get 1 super effective move, basically. If they only have 1, they can't keep clicking it against you, right? I think that's a good way I can word it to you. Basically, you can't click the same move twice in a row, your opponent, right? So if they're like Choice Scarfed or Choice Banded, well, tough. You can't click the same move again. So it could be pretty cool. On top of that, 143 base attack stat and defense. So this guy right here, you see him right here, he's here to click buttons, he's here to get kills, and this is basically a god tier start to a Fairy Dragon Steel Core. The only better pick in my opinion would be what Joey took, number 1 overall, which is just regular Melmetal, because he can run it with whatever item. But the G-Max one is still phenomenal, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be busted. So I'm excited for that. With the second pick, I got a mod that I have wanted to draft literally ever since I've started in Draft League, and that is none other than Rotomwash. Rotomwash is crazy good. This thing is crazy good. I've literally have wanted it since Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire is when I started playing Draft League, but it's an electric type that can beat ground types because it's levitating. So I would have to watch out for like Mold Breaker. There's only a couple that get that. Since this is post Pokemon Home, obviously we're allowing, you know, the transfer stuff, right? So it gets Defog back. So I got a bulky water type, which is basically a must-have, something that you're gonna need. In Gen 8, Rotomwash actually gets Nasty Plot, so that's making it just insane. Gets me a start to a like a Volt Turn core, basically, and get some Volt Switch momentum. It's really good if you go with like a Choice Scarf, something to apply pressure, or Choice Specs, and then I would also have the option to trick that onto an opponent. It gives me something that will basically beat the fire and ground types that kind of, well, not even kind of, they really are trying to hit this Melmetal, right? The G-Max Melmetal. So that's going to at least take care of some of those. Really, the only thing that resists the dual stab from Rotomwash is like a grass type. But if that happens, hey, guess what? We can Volt Switch on you and get on out of there. Also access to things like Will-O-Wisp, be able to burn an opponent. It's going to be sick. Up next, I'm so happy I got Rotomwash, for real. Oh my god, man. I've wanted this thing forever. But with the third pick, I was looking, I was like, okay, we got a Steel type. We got a Water type and an Electric type, right? So I felt like what I needed next... Oh, by the way, the nickname of my Rotomwash is going to be Full Load because, well, that's why. But anyways, got a Steel type, got a Water type, got an Electric type. So I thought the thing that I could use the most would be No type, which is why I went ahead and picked up Volley, which, yes, we're going to name No type because it's every type. It's the Swiss Army knife. It is out here, okay? So Volley is sick, and it got an insane buff from Gen 7 because basically multi-attack, right? So whatever memory, you know, you give it is gonna obviously change whatever type it is, right? So bring whatever type you want, and then that move got buffed from 90 base power to 120. Nah, not 125. It is 120. So 120. That's still... It went from 90 to 120, okay? Basically, we can customize this to kind of pinpoint weaknesses on an opponent depending on the matchup, you know what I mean? So, 1 week, boom, Volley Bug could be nice. Could run Volley Fairy, you know, whatever. It's going to be dependent on the matchup, but it's really cool that we have something that can switch up like that. It can set up with things like Swords Dance or even Flame Charge, which is going to get back. It also gets Defog back thanks to Pokemon Home, and it gets Tailwind. Incredible moves. It gets U-turn. It gets Parting Shot. So that's really cool. Give me some switch momentum there. I think it'd be pretty cool. I am looking at notes. Yes, feel free to call me out on it. Actually, don't. I just appreciate the love. But yeah, I mean, it's unpredictable. It can pretty much do anything here, and it has a base total of 570. Okay, which is G-Max Melmetal is 600 base stat total. This is literally 95 in every stat instead of 100 in every stat. Pretty damn good. So shout out to No Type. Up next is something that really I wanted to make sure that I could grab, and I almost took it round 3, but I wasn't sure if Volley would come back, so I'm glad I took Volley now. But up next we have Incineroar. Give us powerful Intimidate, okay? Fire type, Dark type. Incineroar gets Parting Shot now. That's a thing. Not sure why they did that, but I love it. Also gets U-turn support. It's pretty bulky in general, but it's a physically offensive fire type. I'm a huge fan of physically offensive fire types because they can't be burned, so you don't got to worry about getting your attack dropped unless you get like intimidated or something like that. And we're the ones running intimidate, so that's pretty dope. Other good moves it gets, things like bulk up, power trip, flame charge. Pretty sick. It's gonna hit like a truck. It gets the signature lariat, and it even gets close combat now, so it's pretty dumb. Incineroar is pretty dumb, and I love it. And we named it Furlessify. Yeah, like because it's got the fur on it. So shout out to Incineroar. Let's get it. And up next, our dragon making the debut. Something I've never picked before but always really liked, I've actually been sniped of it a few times, is going to be the one and only Noivern, which is going to be named for Tragny. Definitely shout out to the homie Trag. Thank you for all the love. I appreciate everything you've done to help me out, dude. Just with all the support from YouTube, Twitch, everything. I wanted to name a mine after you. I hope you like Noivern. But this basically completes the Fairy Dragon Steel Core, quote unquote, if we count Fairy Silvally. Fairy Silvally, or Silvally Grass would also give us a Fire Water Grass core, so it's pretty sick. But anyways, that's a, that's the thing. It has 123 base speed, so it is fast. This thing is fast. I dig it. Another defogger, another U-turner, so that's really good. Ability Infiltrator. Pretty sick. I'm hitting through screens, I'm hitting through subs. It's gonna be pretty dope. It gets the ability Frisk, so I'll be able to just check items. Boom. We're running. I see what item you are. I U-turn on out of there, or I switch out of there. I do whatever I need to do. I do whatever I need to do. It gets not trick. It gets the other trick. What's a switcheroo? It gets switcheroo, so you can change items there. And if I threw like a choice specs on it, or even a life orb, but especially choice specs, hitting. It's hitting, and it's clapping things up. So Noivern, welcome to the team. As you can see, so Volley and Incineroar were some of my free picks. So that'll kind of let you know basically how it goes in the tier system. I don't have a number calculator there, but basically where our points are going to be fine. Gmax Melmetal did actually cost us 40 free points, so we only had 360 instead of 400. So that's something to keep in mind, but I still think we ended up getting a really solid team. Up next is a new Pokemon. Yeah, no, not even kinda. It is a new Pokemon. It's something that I think is actually really dope. It has a pretty cool backstory, and obviously, hands down, the coolest evolution method possible, which isn't even dumb at all. And that's gonna be Rodriguez. I'm gonna be running the shiny one, because I do have a shiny one. I'm gonna name this thing Trap Soul, just because basically the Pokedex entries, if you read them, they're kind of dark and fucked up. But the soul got trapped into this painting, and its ability is Wandering Spirit. It's kind of cool. But it gives me Stealth Rocks. It gives me Toxic Spikes, so that's pretty good. Ground, and which is going to give me an Electric immunity, and it is a Ghost type, so I get Fighting and Normal immunities. Boom. So that's going to be really good. It's going to pair well with Melmetal. That's something that was kind of being thought of in the process there. Plus, with the abilities, going to be swapping a bunch of abilities around that could try and hinder opponents that way. And then we could probably do some pretty cool stuff with taking people's abilities on here if things go as planned. So that'd be pretty cool. Base 145 defense. 145 in defense, and it gets body press, so it gets a fighting type move that's going to just hit incredibly hard. It can set up with things like Calm Mind, Nasty Plot, Amnesia, I believe. Yes, and Iron Defense too. Oh, okay, I didn't even know that. I just knew Amnesia. Okay, cool. Also gets Will-O-Wisp. Something that I believe Incineroar gets too, I'm pretty sure, but I said Rotomwash gets it as earlier, and it gets Trick Room, and it's very, very, very slow. So that's good. I wanted to have some kind of checks for Trick Room or opportunity to set that up if that was something that we felt like doing. So Trap Soul, welcome aboard. Up next is the Dynasty. It's the making of a dynasty. This Pokemon right here is actually a world champion. It's canon. And that's going to be him on top. The Dynasty. So I do want to welcome this aboard. We have a second Intimidator now, which is going to be huge. We have an Intimidate core, which is awesome. It gives us Technician, which is pretty sick. And it also gets Close Combat, so that's pretty good. I don't believe it got Close Combat before Gen 8, so that's good. It now gets Rapid Spin, or well, it always had Rapid Spin. I mean, our team now has a Rapid Spinner, so that's good. And that's going to get buffed by Technician for that powerful meme-like damage that we've been known to dish out here on the channel. But it's really bulky in general, and it gets hella priority. Literally, to name a few: Bullet Punch, Mach Punch, Feint, Sucker Punch, Vacuum Wave. I think there's one more. Quick Attack, boom. And it gets Thief. If you didn't know that, you should check out my WBE battle that went up last week against my buddy Steve, aka Magnitude. Fucking Thief Hitmontop, dude. Jesus. But anyways, we get a good fighting type as well, which takes one less off the board that Melmetal has to worry about. I've also looked back historically. I tend to do a lot better. Shocker, right? I tend to do a lot better whenever I draft the fighting type. I was looking back at some of the seasons in Draft League when I did god awful, and I was like, dude, I didn't have a fighting type on this team. Who'd have thought? And I didn't have a dark type on this team. Who'd have thought? Those are two things I made sure to get. So definitely happy to have Hitmontop, and I'm excited to use it. Up next, this Mon is currently on one of our other Sword and Shield Draft League teams. He's already a Miami Donphans fan. He said, Coach, I've been playing my ass off. I need you to bring me back. I love it here. I took my talents down to South Beach. It's been an incredible experience. Beautiful women, tropical beverages with or without the alcohol, whatever you like. And I said, you know what? I got you. I'm bringing him back. So I'm bringing back Donovan, the Qwilfish, who is currently on our ABL team, which is our VGC league, the doubles league. We picked up Donovan, the Qwilfish, in free agency, and it has been a monster. It's been a monster. Literally in the debut video, he took over the game. It gives me a third Intimidator. Don't bring physical attackers against me. Just don't do it. This is going to be ineffective. I got 3 Intimidators. It gets Swift Swim. I think it also gets like Poison Point is the other ability, but 3 usable abilities. Boom. Let's get it. It gets Spikes and T-Spikes. So I now have 2 T-Spikers. It is a grounded poison type, which is huge. Yes, you're weak to ground type moves, but you clean up T-Spikes on the switch in. So if anybody brings those against me, I'll just pull out the boy Donovan right here, which is kind of crazy because I never pull out. And Donovan's going to clean up the T-Spikes. But it's also a water type that can beat grass types. And that is like... That was kind of key for me. I like to have 2 water types on my team if possible, just because of how good water types are. But one that can beat grass, really, really solid. So... definitely happy to have Qwilfish on the squad. Hopefully you guys are too, and I'm looking forward to it. Up next, this is one that I'm excited for. I was looking around. I said, man, I need another rapid spinner. So we got Eldegoose. I do have a shiny Eldegoose. We're gonna be using that one. And I'm naming it OnlyFans because my OnlyFans is probably going to be coming out relatively soon, or maybe I'll just do the nude Patreon. But make sure that you stay tuned for that, and you get pictures of that schmeat on there. Anyways, it gives me a second rapid spinner, gives me regenerator, as well as the cotton down ability, which is pretty cool. It'll lower the speed of my opponent, things like that. It also gives me a definitive fire, water, grass core, so that's gonna be really good. As far as this goes, I am getting a message right now. What is going on? Okay, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. That was weird. My thing like flashed. Okay, I'm sorry about that. But anyways, gives me a definitive fire, water, grass core without having to rely on Volley grass specifically. It gets weather ball, which is pretty sick. Maybe we could do some shit with like swift swim, Qwilfish, and weather ball. OnlyFans, and be able to do some cool Eldegoose stuff. But anyways, it gives me a really bulky pivot. I think it gets U-turn, maybe not, but I can actually check that real quick. That's the only thing that I forgot to write down, actually. Besides that, I was pretty much on it with everything else. It looks like it does not get U-turn, so but anyways, that's fine. I'm just really excited to have it on the squad, but that's really all it is here. I just like it. It's a new mon. I think it's cool. I like a lot of the Gen 8 Pokemon. I really do. And we got 2 picks left. 2 picks left. We have our tier 5. And as you'll notice, as you have noticed, I'm sure a lot of you have, you've been scratching your head. What's going on? Why don't you have a tier 1? Let's talk about my tier 1. After my tier 5, Clefairy. This is going to give us a definitive Fairy Dragon Steel Core, you know, without having to rely on Volley. But this gives me another stealth rocker, and it's super bulky with Eviolite. So that's going to be pretty dope. It gets just really, really good setup moves in general. And it basically gets every move Clefable gets, right? Clefable's busted as hell. I'm sure that there's probably some moves that it doesn't get. I'm not going to sit here and name them all. You can look it up if you really want to know, but it's a tier 5, and a lot of the tier 5s were actual butthole because the national dex isn't in the game, so we have very, very limited things to choose from. But I think that Clefairy could be kind of nice down there. It's kind of nice. It gives us a Baton Pass, which we can pass a wish if that's something that we wanted to do. It oh, and then I was like, there's one more thing I was gonna say, but it's that we don't have to rely on Volley Fairy. But if you think I'm not bringing this multiple times, you're wrong. It is. Clefairy will be here. Clefairy will absolutely be here. I named it Rose Matter because in the LBC, which was the last battle circuit, which was the final Gen 7 draft league that I did, I had Clefable on my team. I named it Pink Matter because I absolutely love that Pink Matter. Good God. I named this Rose Matter because rose gold, pink. Let's get it. This is the younger one. This is the future. This is the future. So let's talk about my tier 1. I wish you would talk about my tier 1. Let's talk about Jirachi, okay? Jirachi. Let me tell you something. I absolutely am naming it I wish you would, because I know this thing will just it'll just take your wishes and make them come true, and it'll just be great, okay? Jirachi, base 600 stats, 100s all across the board, okay? It's the perfect dive, 100s everywhere. I've drafted Jirachi one time before. One time I've used Volley. One time I have used Jirachi. I won the championship. XBL, Season 1. Jirachi was on the squad. We got the dub. We got a ring, okay? Gives me another U-turner. Gives me another stealth rocker. Gives me another baton pass user. A bulky psychic type. Another steel type, basically, to complement, you know, whatever I feel like complimenting. It's Jirachi. It's stupid as hell. It doesn't matter. It's so good. Serene Grace, busted. Busted in general. Plus, just his move pool It's so good with that ability. It's going to be insane. This one also could be more specially defensive as opposed to Melmetal, which is going to have more of that physical bulk. So that's going to be pretty cool. But double steel in general is pretty tough to take down, especially given the support that we have on our team with things like Rotomwash, able to hit, you know, fire and ground types, and oh man, I'm feeling good. And Jirachi itself gonna be tanking or knocking down fighting types. I'm solid. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about this. We got maybe run some Volley, psychic or flying, or who the hell knows. We're gonna do some cool shit. This is the team we got, Donphans. I'm giving away a Nintendo Switch Lite when we hit 30,000 subscribers. I appreciate everybody for your time. I know this is getting a little bit long, so I'm going to go ahead and peace out, but that's all I got, Donphans. That's all I got. Roll out.